Mornings with Meg. A year ago, I was at my church's Advent program with a few of my friends, and we were discussing kind of the stress that we were feeling at the moment in preparing for Christmas. We were listing the presents we had to buy, the sales that were happening, how we were going to get things done, the kids' Christmas programs, why the principal moved it to a certain time that seemed to be a little bit more inconvenient for some parents. And we were going on and on at this Advent program when we really probably should have been more spiritually aware of the whole reason of Advent. But as we were sitting there talking, a woman approached us and joined the conversation. This was an older woman whose children were out of the house and she was experiencing the joy of grandchildren. And she said, I learned something years ago that I'm now able to do. She said, I like to get all of my Christmas shopping done before Advent begins. So basically she said, by Thanksgiving. I like to get this all done by Thanksgiving. And she went on and told us a little bit of how she approaches that. And so my friends and I looked at each other and said, well, that sounds great, but not very realistic for us. Because whether it's just the time constraints, the budgeting, it's nearly impossible to think that that's, it's realistic. However, the more I thought about it, the more I thought, you know what? The whole reason the woman did this was so she could prepare properly for our Savior's birth. That she took a bunch of stress off her plate during Advent because a lot of the hustle and bustle of the season had already been taken care of before Thanksgiving. And while my friends and I kind of laughed and said, well, that must be nice, I kept thinking, well, what if I could do some things before Thanksgiving? Now, anyone who knows me personally knows I do not prepare in advance for many things. I'm not super flighty, but at the same time, I always get my stuff done, but I kind of like to be that last minute Sally, I guess. That's how I've always operated. And it works. To a point, I guess. But now that I've got 3 kids and balancing all the activities that all other moms balance, it gets a little touchy in the Christmas season, right? But I remember thinking, gosh, what if I could do even a fraction of what that older woman was talking about? So, because I, do things a little bit more last minute, or have in the past, I'll say, I went to Real Simple, the magazine Real Simple, and I looked up what does a proper to-do list really look like if you are organized and preparing for the Christmas season. So here are just a few ideas. Updating the Christmas card list, purchasing or creating those Christmas cards. Put all the Christmas activities, Christmas programs, Christmas parties on your calendar. Decide who's hosting Christmas. Are you traveling? Are you going to visit the in-laws? What kind of travel plans are involved? Are you hosting everybody at your house? Also, Real Simple noted, you could even bake some things and freeze them for a month or so ahead of time. How about making your master gift list? And as I'm going through this list, and there's a few more, I'm thinking, what realistically of those things could I do before Thanksgiving? Not just to say, oh, check, I'm done, I feel fantastic, but to really make space in your calendar, in your heart, in your mind, in your soul, for the true reason that we celebrate Advent. That we wait and we prepare for our Savior's birth. Once we can determine, okay, there's 5 things I can commit to doing in preparation for Christmas, but I can do it before Thanksgiving, what will that look like? What will that allow me to concentrate on during Advent? So I went to Lisa Hendy's CatholicMom.com and looked at some ideas for ourselves as mothers, but also for our family and children, that now that we have freed up a little bit of space, what can we plug into that to help us focus on our spiritual growth during Advent? There's plenty of Advent kid projects. Last year, I know my kids wanted to make the chain red and green, red and green, red and green to count down. And there was something noted on each of the links that was like a random act of kindness. And so that's one thing that I know if I took some things off my calendar in the weeks leading up to Christmas, I might have time for. The Advent calendar. I know my children love the ones that have chocolate in it, but there's many different variations. So how can your family have time to talk about what each and every day really means in the Advent season? There's daily Advent devotionals. If we just take as mothers a few minutes a day to focus our day on how we are preparing our lives for our Savior's birth. Special nightly Advent prayers. I have some friends who will gather the family around right before bedtime and light a candle and truly spend some non-rushed time praying as a family. Again, maybe it's just a very simple act of kindness that you and your family commit to once a day or once a week to talk about and engage each other in, because you now have a little bit more time, mental space, or a little bit more energy because you've got some things done already before Thanksgiving. So the bottom line is this: if you can get just even a few things done, crossed off your list by Thanksgiving this year, then possibly you will have that space in your heart, in your mind, in your soul, and in your calendar to really focus on your spiritual health and spiritual growth, the real reason that Advent exists, to wait patiently and anticipate our Savior's birth. Until next time, have a great day.